Good afternoon, Facebook, YouTube, Daily Motion, and Twitter. This is Rich again, back for your second video blog of the day for Tuesday, March 10th, 2015, around 5:18 in the afternoon. We'd reach 50 today, and it's cloudy out. We're going to have some rain showers tonight, and tomorrow we could make a run in the mid-50s, which is pretty good. Back to reality on Thursday with temperatures in the low 40s, and maybe this weekend we could get some heavy-duty rain accompanied by maybe an inch or two of snow. Some news to report. The BC men's basketball team beat Georgia Tech by a score of 66-65 today in the first round of the ACC men's basketball tournament. And the Red Sox beat the Tampa Bay Rays by a score of 5-1 in preseason baseball. The Northeastern Huskies punched their ticket to the Big Dance, the NCAA men's basketball tournament. And the big trade in the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks traded Max Unger to the New Orleans Saints and a draft pick for tight end Jimmy Graham. And also another big trade in the NFL, the St. Louis Rams traded quarterback Sam Bradford to the Philadelphia Eagles for quarterback Nick Flores. I did not see that coming. And that's about it on the news. My second video blog subject of the day is about the mbta Fitchburg South-Acton commuter rail line. This is the longest commuter rail line in the north that serves the north station of all the commuter rail trains. It's close to 50 miles one way, so close to 100 miles round trip, and it's going to be extended probably to be over 50 miles when a new station, Wachusett, opens in 2016. Originally, the Fitchburg South-Acton commuter rail line went as far as Gardner, which is over 60 miles from Boston, for like about 10 years in 1980 through 1987 or so. 7 years. And this commuter rail line, about half of it is single track, but they made modifications to make it double track because years and years ago they used a Fitchburg line for like a train service like to Troy, New York, but that was cut back. And eventually, when the mbta got had cutbacks in the 70s, they eliminated, like, from South-Acton on, they didn't serve any trains, so they had to take out the double track and have it single track and stuff like that. And when the service was revived in the late 70s, they couldn't put the second track in again because of funding and stuff. But they made modifications for this Fitchburg South-Acton train line. And here's how it starts. The train goes out of North Station, over the Charles River, and over the Cloverleaf for Route 1, connecting the Tobin Bridge to Route 93, and then it goes and it bears left, and that's the Fitchburg South-Acton tracks. It goes through past shops and stuff, and it goes under McGrath Highway, Route 28, and it goes by the Twin City Plaza on the left if it's outbound, and on the right's inbound, and it goes over the Method Street Bridge in Somerville, and then it goes by a Target, and it goes by Union Square, which that's going to be a Union Square Green Line stop in the near future, maybe 2 years. There's also talk of a Green Line, there's a talk of a commuter rail Union Square station, but that might not happen because there's so many stations and space near each other. It goes over underneath a few bridges, by St. Joseph's Church and School, by Lincoln Park School, goes under the Washington Street Bridge, goes a little further down Market Basket on the left. Goes underneath the Dane Street Bridge, and it goes over Park Street, and then goes by Conway Field and Somerville, continues on. There's a Shaw's right on the left-hand side, and then goes underneath the Beacon Street Bridge, and then its first stop is Porter Square, and you could connect that with it on the red line. A lot of people get off at Porter Square when they're taking the inbound trains because the next stop's Harvard Square, so they use the red line. And the train continues on, and it goes like through North Cambridge, past the cemetery and stuff, and underneath the Alewife Brook Parkway and stuff, and then that's Route 2316. And then at one time there was a branch to go on the Lexington and Railroad, which has been discontinued and never had a stop there. Continues on into Belmont, right runs by the Fitchburg cutoff, goes under a couple of bridges, and they stop at Belmont Station, which you could get off and connect to a bus 74 that takes you to Harvard Square and stuff. And it continues on for half a mile, and then comes to Waverly Square in Belmont, and you could get off there and take bus 73, the trackless trolleys, to Harvard Square, or bus 554, an express that goes to Newton Corner, downtown Boston, and I think it goes to Brandeis, and continues on and stuff, goes into Waltham, goes by a stop that's no longer in existence, that was discontinued years ago. Then it stops at Waltham Square, that's Central Square in Waltham, part of that single track, and it continues on for about mile or so for the next stop, which is Brandeis Roberts, where the Celtics play. It's near the campus of Brandeis University, and the Celtics practice there. And it continues on. It goes underneath Route 128, and then it enters Weston, and they have a next stop is Kendall Green, and that's the only regular stop that serves 7 days a week in Weston. And the next two stops are Hastings and Silver Hill, which are just rush hour stops only, and you have to flag it down if you're going in that area, and they're hardly used stops at all. In this talk, they might eliminate that just to save up on time. And then goes into Lincoln, and the next stop is Lincoln Station, and it continues on. It goes into Concord. It goes past Walden Pond and stuff. There's no train stop at Walden Pond, so you can't get off there. So it continues on, goes underneath Route 2, and then the next stop is Concord, the scenic Concord there, and then continues on into Concord, and then there's West Concord and stuff, and it goes over underneath Route 2 again. And then the next stop is South Acton, and some trains stop at South Acton as the final destination point, because part of the tracks from South Acton are on a single track, but they've upgraded it, so part of that was now double track, and it continues on, goes underneath Route 2 again, and then it stops at Littleton 495, which is close to 495. The stop was originally a little further down, but when they made renovations, they moved it there, and that continues on, goes underneath 495, and stops at goes past a couple of stops that are no longer in existence in there, and then they stop at Air Station, and it continues on and goes by Devons, the old 4th Devons, and goes underneath Route 2 again, and then the next stop is Shirley, and they continue on. The train continues on, goes over the Nashua River, and then enters Worcester County. And then at one time there was a train station in Lunenburg, because they briefly stopped at Lunenburg, but that train station is no longer in existence. And then they go over Route 13, and then that's where North Leominster Station is. And they continue on. This train continues on until its termination stop is Fitchburg at the time being, and that's the last stop for Fitchburg. On the weekends, during the winter months, passengers could get off and take a special shuttle bus to Wachusett Mountain. And then the plan for 2016 is for the commuter rail to go another 4 miles to terminate at Wachusett Station right at Route 2. There's been talk about looking into expanding back the commuter rail line to either Gardner, Massachusetts, or as far away as Athol, Massachusetts. They've done some studies about this over the past 10 years about extending it to Athol, but Athol's 81 miles from North Station in Boston, and this plan recommended if they have to do that, that they were going to be eliminating a lot of these stations in between. And we'll talk about eliminating Shirley and Air and putting a special stop at Devon's. There was talk about eliminating either Belmont or like Waverly Square permanently. Talk about eliminating Hastings and Silver Hill completely as rush hour. Also maybe talking about eliminating West Concord as a train facility, but these were recommendations. But the people were outraged when they heard about these recommendations being eliminated in these communities that have commuter rail service. They were outraged, saying you're not going to do this, and it wasn't even recommended. Personally, I don't think they'll ever have a commuter rail train that goes out as far as Athol, Massachusetts at all, completely, because it's 81 miles from North Station. And plus, in addition, that's going to be close to 2.5 to 3 hours for a commuter rail ride, which the MBTA probably is not going to do. And they would have to rezone it maybe zone 11 or 12 or 13. It'd probably be one-way round trip over $20 or something. MBTA is not going to probably go as far away as 81 miles on the commuter rail line, but we'll wait and see about that. This is an interesting train ride to take, and they have great foliage. If you want to take the train ride to see Walden Pond, be my guest. It's convenient, and on average about 9,556 passengers per day use the Fitchburg South Acton line, and I think this Fitchburg South Acton line they're trying to put it up to speed to be like 70, 80 miles per hour. That's what I heard. And that's about it on the Fitchburg South Acton commuter rail line. Be back later on Facebook, Friends, YouTube, Forest, Daily Motion, Twitter, with a third and final video blog of the night, which will be about former college basketball coach Jimmy Valvano, the late Jimmy Valvano. Jimmy V, don't ever give up. I'll tell you his story. And great feedback I'm getting on these video blogs. Have a good day. See you tonight.